The open ocean is the largest biome on Earth. It covers about 70% of Earth's surface, and we've only explored about 5% of its depths. The ocean is home to the smallest creatures that can only be seen with a microscope, and also the largest creatures, such as a 110-foot blue whale. There are 5 different oceans within the entire ocean biome. There's the Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Arctic Ocean, and the Southern Ocean.
Within these 5 different oceans, there are 3 layers based on sunlight and depth. The first layer is called the euphotic layer. This layer is shallow and light can reach the bottom. The first layer is 90% of marine life live, including phytoplankton, algae, and seaweed, so they can perform photosynthesis to start marine food chains. The second layer is the dysphotic layer. Here, only some sunlight can reach the bottom. The third layer is called the aphotic layer, where no sunlight is received and the water is very dark and murky. The deepest point is about 36,200 feet.
The temperature of the waters is based on what layer you're in and which of the 5 biomes you're in. The temperature can vary from negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The warmest waters are closest to the equator, and the coldest waters are closest to the North and South Pole. As you go deeper into the ocean depths, the temperature decreases. This is called thermocline. Many organisms can only survive at certain temperatures, so the majority of marine life lives where the warmest water temperatures are. There are also ocean currents that move warm waters from the tropics and cold waters from the poles. These currents can also cause drastic weather like hurricanes and typhoons.
Along with currents, oceans also have tides, which are periodic rises and falls of water levels. These tides alter twice a day due to the gravitational pull between the sun and the moon. These alterations can affect the movement and eating patterns of different plants and animals throughout the water.
Many organisms spend their entire lives surrounded by water. Most of them never reach the shore, the surface, or the bottom. Many of these organisms are restricted to certain zones as they have adapted through evolution to survive in different conditions. This creates different biodiversity at different layers. Similarly to the sunlight layers, there are usually 4 ecological zones: epipelagic zone, mesopelagic zone, bathypelagic zone, and the abyssopelagic zone. In certain places around the world, there is a 5th zone called the hadopelagic zone, where deep trenches exist.
The epipelagic zone is the part of the ocean where there is enough sunlight for organisms to do photosynthesis. This is a zone that most of you are thinking about when you hear the word ocean. This is where phytoplankton, algae, seaweed, dolphins, whales, tuna, and sharks live, as well as many other organisms. The mesopelagic zone is like a transition zone from sunlight to no sunlight. This zone is much larger than the epipelagic zone. There are some species of fish and invertebrates like swordfish, squid, and wolf eels that live here, and many of these species travel from this zone to the epipelagic zone during the night to feed.
The next zone is the bathypelagic zone. This zone is even bigger than the mesopelagic zone and is considered the largest ecosystem on Earth. There is absolutely no sunlight in this zone, but organisms do live here like the deep sea anglerfish, stake dragonfish, and gulper eel. They live in complete darkness, and the only light they may receive is light emitted from other organisms. This light is called bioluminescence. This light can be used to attract prey or a mate. The next zone, the abyssopelagic zone, that stretches from the bathypelagic zone to the ocean floor. There is a lack of life in this zone, and it holds some of the deepest points in the ocean.
This may seem like a marine paradise, but human activities are contributing to global warming, such as water pollution, overfishing, and lack of conservation, all of which are taking a toll on aquatic life and their homes. Some of the ways we contribute to water pollution are oil spills, excessive use of fossil fuels, and runoff of oils. Oil spills can cause a great amount of damage to aquatic ecosystems, but surprisingly, only 12% of oil entering the oceans each year comes from oil spills. Mostly oil in the oceans comes from waste and runoff from cities. Another kind of runoff that damages the ocean is fertilizer runoff from lawns and farms. Fertilizer can cause eutrophication, which is when a large algae bloom occurs. This bloom suffocates other marine life and eventually leads to their death.
Another form of water pollution is trash that ends up in the ocean. The most common trash found in the ocean are plastic bags, balloons, glass bottles, shoes, and packaging material. These pieces of trash can block breathing passageways in marine animals and can choke and suffocate them. These seas of garbage can block the pathway of sunlight to photosynthetic algae, depleting the amount of oxygen in that area. Also, all of this plastic increases the amount of toxic chemicals in the water. These chemicals eventually move their way through the food chain to humans, and scientists have discovered that some of these chemicals can lead to severe health issues such as cancer or reduced fertility.
In addition to pollution, humans are destroying ocean ecosystems by overfishing. The amount of fishing that we're doing is 2 to 3 times larger than the amount of fishing that the oceans can sustainably support. We're overfishing to the point where certain fish populations are threatened and can eventually become extinct. Studies have proved that unless we change our fishing patterns, fish species that are used for food are predicted to collapse by 2048. Not only are we threatening commercial fish species, but we're also killing other marine life for no reason. Millions of fish like dolphins, turtles, and sharks die because of lack of food and getting caught in fish nets.
To preserve our ocean ecosystems, we need to reduce our waste production, reduce our fossil fuel use, and learn how to fish sustainably. We also need to reduce our use of fertilizers and pesticides. If we don't change our ways now, not only will we damage marine life and ocean ecosystems, but our actions will affect us as humans as we greatly depend on the livelihood of oceans.